Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live. I'm Alexandra Canal, can I speak? Joined by Josh Schaefer and Brooke De Palma. And guys, we're talking Barbie, which we normally do on the roundtable, but this is interesting because Margot Robbie, the star of the film, she's expected to make a heck of a lot of money from this. $50 million in salary and box office bonuses. And this immediately brought me back to way back in the day, not that long ago, if you can believe it, but during COVID, remember when Scarlett Johansson, she had that massive lawsuit against Disney because they decided to put Black Widow on Disney Plus and skipping the theatrical experience entirely. At that time, Scarlett Johansson said she lost out on a lot of money due to those box office bonuses, which, as we're seeing, is a really significant part. So as the actor strike is ongoing, that's something that I've been thinking about that actors are fighting for when it comes to this new streaming age revolution. But then, of course, for Margot Robbie, pretty good payday right now.
Very good payday. And I often wonder how much exactly these stars, these celebrities make from each movie that they're in. I mean, they're turning out one per year. We were just chatting about some of Margot Robbie's other films. She was in Babylon, she was in Wolf of Wall Street. And to see this significant of a payout, $50 million.
Yeah,
but when you think about the billion-dollar franchise that it is that a lot, would you say?
I would say it's pretty significant. Yeah. To your point, right? These stars, only some of the big ones, they only do a movie a year, if that. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's pretty picky with the movies he does because he has the ability to make a lot of money. It just goes to show, even though there's a lot of turmoil in this industry right now, there is still a lot of lucrative opportunities at the box office.
All right, so I'm trying to get a little bit of perspective on the numbers, right?
Okay.
So Barbie just passed Batman: The Dark Knight, one of my favorite movies of all time, for total domestic box office. And so I looked up how much Christian Bale made off Batman. Quick answer off Google tells me he made $9 million off Batman Begins, $10 million off The Dark Knight, $15 million off Dark Knight Rises. Then when you add in some of the bonuses off the trilogy, so all three Batmans, which I would consider very popular movies.
Very popular, yeah.
Christian Bale made about $50 million, and we're talking about
All three, yeah,
and we're talking about Margot Robbie making $50 million off one movie. Now again, remember, The Dark Knight came out in 2008, so a little bit of a different. That was a long time ago at this point for how much people made.
But that was also peak box office, right? Peak theatrical.
And also, too, I remember the theaters being absolutely packed for that. So you have to imagine that the people attending, the tickets that were sold for that, compared to what we're seeing now, perhaps is similar, but. You weigh in inflation, you weigh in all that fun stuff, how much more ticket prices today than they were back in 2008, and maybe perhaps, the cut that she's getting, how does that compare?
She's a producer on this movie, too.
Yeah,
Which
correct.
we should point out.
And I think the thing for Barbie with me when comparing it to The Dark Knight, too, that you just think about is like, in 2008, we were going to the movies regularly still, right? Barbie, to me, has been one of the I think it has been the biggest talking to friends, people are going to see Barbie moment since we've got out of the pandemic, as far as just, I'm actually going to the movies. You don't talk to people often anymore and ask what they're doing over the weekend, and they say they're going to the movies. The past 3 weeks, people have said
I did too.
Yeah.
You're the only one that
did. Gosh.
I saw Oppenheimer. I haven't seen Barbie.
Okay, that's good. You saw one of the two.
Exactly.
But yeah, I do think it's just a cultural moment, and people want to be involved in the conversation.
Yeah, and then, really quickly on that cultural moment, I did read that 75% are under the age of 29 who are going to see this movie. And I can't help but think, what does this mean for Halloween sales? Are we going to see more Barbies walking around? And in addition to that, I like to think of a female empowerment. What does this play in this future of, film director schools, of, females going into film? And so further implications down the line, I think, for sure.